Hi, I'm Eve and I use any pronouns.
And I'm Phoenix. I use they, them pronouns.
And welcome back to Hearth and Tome Bookclub.
Woo!
This month, we are reading Star Trek Strange New Worlds, The High Country. It's very exciting.
Yeah.
It's a tie-in novel to the series Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
No way.
Specifically season 1. Specifically. I can't remember exactly which episodes it ties into, like between.
It occurs between... Hang on.
Oh.
Hold on.
Get your notes out, come on.
It occurs between the episode The Serene Squall and the episode The Elysian Kingdom, which I think is episodes 7 and 8 of season 1, I believe.
I need to rewatch it.
So it occurs just after they have their ship captured by pirates, which happens in The Serene
that
Squall.
episode.
And just
Understood.
before the episode where they're all fantasy characters.
That episode's fucking fantastic.
It is a brilliant episode.
It's
And
so good.
there are things in this book about Dr. Mbenga that are like tie in a bit to that episode, because that episode's all about Dr. Mbenga and his daughter.
I love Mbenga so much.
He's great.
I think he's one of the best characters in that series.
It is a solid
delightful.
TV show, and I just want to say,
Solid.
please, for the love of God, if you haven't watched Strange New Worlds, watch it. But also, if you haven't watched
Yes.
Strange New Worlds and you've read this book, do not let this book colour your opinion of the TV show.
Yes.
No offense to John Jackson Miller, this is not the best tie-in novel I've ever read.
I think it's probably one of the weakest that I've read.
It ain't great.
It's not great. But it's Star Trek. So
It is Star Trek.
it's still pretty nice
Yes.
in a way. But it's not as good as the series. The series
No.
just hits different.
Yeah.
Go watch it.
It's not.
Go
This
away.
is not something
Watch
that I
it.
would be like. If you are a fan of Strange New Worlds, you absolutely have to read. Like, I don't
Yeah,
think
no.
it's that worthwhile.
This doesn't really add much
No.
to the series.
No, it doesn't really do very much for anybody or
Yeah.
the plot or anything.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah. So, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the
Let's-
plot a bit, I guess.
Yes. Captain Christopher Pike, Uhura, Spock, and Unachin Riley are all on this kind of like experimental shuttlecraft thing. It's kind of new, and they are going to investigate this planet that they found. And so the four of them are taking a nice little cruise down.
Yep, they're just hanging out.
When they're hanging out, they're talking about everything shuttlecraft. They're geeking out together.
Yep.
They're having a great time. And the shuttlecraft fails and crash lands on the planet, making all four of them kind of like beam out at different places.
Yes.
I think
They encounter like weird. There's like weird pulses where every time the pulse happens, all of their shuttle like systems cut out.
yes.
Yeah.
And this also happens to the Enterprise, but the Enterprise stays a distance so it doesn't crash into the planet and kill everyone. And so they're basically trying to survive on this new planet, but also kind of try and figure out how to turn off this thing called the baffle, which is what
baffle.
causes the pulses. The baffle. The baffle.
Waffle.
The baffle. So they can try and turn it off so they can get off planet.
Yes.
Because there's also these like fire-like creatures that are destroying anything that are kind of remotely technological advancements on the planet as well. It's very fun.
Yeah. It's
A very fun idea.
yes. The concept of this is solid.
Yeah. Yeah.
The execution perhaps slightly less so.
A little bit less.
Yeah.
Yes. But do you have anything to add to the plot? Just in case I missed anything.
I don't think so.
Nice.
They're there. They all get scattered across the planet we hit. They're all in like different environments.
Yeah.
Pike encounters an old friend or old acquaintance.
Former friend.
On the
Turned
planet.
enemy.
And then they're like you said, trying to turn off the baffle because they want to leave.
Yes.
And they also they're trying to be, at least to begin with, trying to be very careful about not breaking the Prime Directive and like.
Yes, which is newly introduced at this point.
Yes, it's a new thing.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Because of bad things that happened in Star Trek Discovery when it was actually a good show.
Look, I maintain Star Trek Discovery was fine eventually.
Eventually.
Okay? There was some good stuff in seasons 3 and 4 and some in 5 of Discovery. Okay? And there was some good stuff in seasons 1 and 2 of Discovery. The issue was that seasons 1 and 2 and seasons 3 to 5 were two totally different shows. And that every single season had to be like galaxy ending plot that only the crew of the Discovery can stop, and that gets old real quick.
God forbid.
So but Discovery's, it's fine. It's not as good as Strange New Worlds, but it did without Discovery we would not have Strange New Worlds. Okay, like literally Strange New Worlds would not exist.
Exactly.
So
thank you, Discovery.
Discovery did like bring Star Trek back, right? Like, it was the first Star Trek show that came back. It reinvigorated the franchise a bit. So even though it's a bit meh,
so good.
Without it we wouldn't have any of the Star Trek we currently have. We wouldn't have Lower Decks. We wouldn't have Strange New Worlds.
Oh, we wouldn't have Lower Decks.
I mean, we wouldn't have Picard, but is that much of a loss?
Oh no, Picard.
Yeah. So
it was fine. Lower Decks though has my whole soul.
Lower Decks
I'm
was
so sad
fantastic.
It's ending this year.
I know, but also I'm glad that like in a way it's like you don't want these things to go on forever.
Exactly. You don't want to
they go shit.
Yeah. And so far it's been consistently really good.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Go out on a high.
So as ever, we will be using the Copile rating system to discuss this book, as created by Book Roast on YouTube. It breaks books down into 7 different categories. You give each category a score out of 10. Add them all up, divide by 7, you get an overall score. The categories are characters, atmosphere/world building, writing style, plot, intrigue, logic, and enjoyment. Eve, what was your overall score?
I must preface, I wasn't a huge fan of this book. 3.8.
Okay. So I also wasn't a huge fan of this book, but I didn't think it was like shit.
I really didn't like it.
So I've ended up on a 6. Like, bang on a 6.
This is like last month with Bury Your Gaze, when I rated it like a 7 and you were at like a 3.
Yeah.
We've just swippy swapped.
Look, you could say we've returned to our
normally scheduled programming. Exactly.
Okay. Yes.
I wasn't a huge fan, unfortunately.
Yeah. We'll get back into that.
Yeah.
But first, drinks.
Drinky poos.
Since we're in the tavern.
Yeah.
Eve, what's your drink for this?
I technically have 2 drinks because I will mention first and foremost, Star Trek run their own coffee line.
What?
So you can buy them yourself. It's all of like all the major characters. So it's like Captain's Choice is the original Captain Pike, and Vulcan Vanilla is coffee beans. There's a Captain Janeway coffee bean that's like a dark roast. There's they're based off a bunch of different characters.
I need
incredible. To try them.
Well, they are available in the US, I see.
Exactly, they're not available here, so I wasn't able.
You can get them as like a gift set with like a themed mug too.
Right.
That's incredible.
I really want them. If anyone in the US would buy and send me them, I will. I'm making little heart with my hands.
Why is there a fucking Borg blend?
They're right. It's so good.
Borg blend toffee crunch, incredible.
It's so good. And like, cause I found it because there was more merch that just literally dropped in April this year. So that's how I found out about it. And I just think it's delightful. So if you have the chance, please try them and tell me how they are, because I want to know.
Yeah.
And I want to know why Vulcan coffee is Vulcan Vanilla. Why vanilla? But also, why not? It's extravagant. I love vanilla. But still, I want to know. Why isn't it something else? I don't know. But otherwise, I have another tea that I have chosen. I have talked about this tea company before, Hetty's Tea Room. They do a bunch of loose leaf teas, and I found one called Rocky's Rainbow, which I have lovingly renamed Exploring the Nebula tea.
Nice.
Because just to keep on theme, you know. It's got apple pieces, chamomile, hibiscus, elderberries, rosehip, freeze-dried pineapple, orange peels, freeze-dried strawberries. It's very fruity, and it looks kind of like a nebula with all the different kind of colours and stuff, and it's scrumptious. So yeah, that's
can't go wrong with something
drink.
that gets described as very fruity, you know.
Very fruity on this show?
No. on
way.
My gay podcast.
On my little queer part of the internet.
Shocking.
It's delightful and tasty. Go drink the rainbow.
For my mocktail, I went with the official mocktail of the European Space Agency, because, you know, we don't have the Federation yet.
Not yet.
No.
For now.
Maybe one day we will. I feel like this needs a little bit of backstory here, okay?
Yes.
So, last year, there was the Jupiter Icy Moons Explorer was launched by the European Space Agency, okay? Now, this probe has been called, by the European Space Agency, JUICE. Okay? And so
Brilliant!
they decided, since they had a thing
Beautiful.
called JUICE, that they would have a competition to create a mocktail inspired by this thing's voyage, right? And it going to the moons of Jupiter. And the one that won is called Europa's Geology, because Europa, one of the moons of Jupiter.
Love it. Very good.
So it's tonic water, some coconut water, ginger ale, apple juice, and a little bit of blue spirulina powder. So you mix all of that together in a big tall glass.
Sparkly.
Along with some edible glitter powder stuff. What's it called? Luster dust. That sort of thing. Along with a little bit of that, right? You mix all that in a big tall glass, and then you put in some brown rock crystal sugar, and you let that go to the bottom of the glass to make like a little surface, you see? And then you top it with some finely crushed ice and sprinkle that with some cinnamon powder, and it looks like Europa, the moon. Apparently.
I like that a lot.
I've never actually seen
Kinda
what
blue.
Europa looks like.
Yeah.
But apparently that's what it looks. I mean, I assume it looks like a moon, but apparently it's, you know,
large floating
because I know
rock.
it's one of those ones that's like icy and then it's got like a crust on top and then there's like water underneath the ice. I assume it's a very clever reference to that. But yeah,
I'm sure it's very clever. That sounds delicious, actually.
yes,
Very
yes.
appley.
You can also, if you want to, you know, jazz it up a bit, you can garnish it with some star anise pods because they're, you know, star shaped. But I would obviously avoid eating star anise because it's not the most pleasant flavour, but it looks nice.
Very cute, though.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a very refreshing.
That sounds cute as hell.
And I thought that would be fun because it's, you know, the official mocktail of the European Space Agency.
Very sparkly.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Okay, let's talk about this book. So as a reminder, I gave it 6 out of 10. You gave it...
I gave it 3.8.
3.8. Okay.
I just didn't really love it.
Let's start with the characters.
Let's go into the characters. Yeah.
I gave characters a 5.
4.
Okay.
Close.
I liked Pike.
Me too.
Right? I think Pike in this
Pike
book
was my
felt
favourite
like
character.
Pike.
Yeah.
My issue with this book was that like 90% of this book is Pike.
Yeah.
Which is fine, except for the fact that it's kind of implied that you're going to get like lots of points of view. And you get like 2 chapters from Uhura and 2 chapters from Spock and then like 23 from Pike, except it's way more than 23, but you know what I mean. There's like 70 odd chapters in this book.
Oh God, there were so many chapters.
It's a lot of
kinda
really
like
short
that.
chapters. It's weird.
To be fair, it is a very small font.
It is.
It is tiny.
But yes, Pike was good. But there was just too much of him and not enough of the side characters that I wanted more of.
See, here's the thing. I don't know. None of the, like, Una, Spock, and Uhura didn't feel like themselves.
No, not at all.
So that's probably why because he nailed Pike's kind of attitude, and that's probably why he kept writing the chapters from Pike's perspective.
I think that would be fine if it was made more clear that this is a Pike book.
Yeah.
But the issue is that it's not presented in that way. It's presented as like follow the four of them as they survive on this planet, and then it's actually like, here's Pike.
Yeah.
And also you'll get the occasional random chapter from Spock's point of view.
Yeah.
Una
or
in
like
particular did not feel like
Una's chapters. I hated her.
She came across really stupid for a lot of it.
Yeah.
And then it's like partway through the book, it's like he realised that he couldn't have her be stupid, and so there's like this moment where it's like she reveals that she's been suspicious of the bad guys the whole time, and I'm like, it doesn't feel like you have been.
Yeah.
Because she's like, so the whole thing is, Pike lands in like cowboy land, right? He lands in this place that feels like the Old West.
Western.
Una lands in a forest and is rescued by this guy who she later discovers is like the prince.
Hated his ass.
To
Solarius?
Solarius? Solarius. And his dad, Draco,
awful name,
is like, he calls himself the Conservator General. He's the guy who's like in charge of the planet, right? And so she spends most of the book with them. And it seems like she's just kind of happy with them, and then later is like, I've not trusted them the whole time, and I'm like, I kind of feel like that's not true, Una, but whatever. Uhura lands in like Volcano Planet land.
Yeah, that must have been horrible.
I think Uhura has some very interesting stuff going on. It just doesn't really super feel like Uhura. It felt like it could have just been anybody.
Yeah,
because she like makes friends with one of the fire creatures and discovers like starts to discover the truth about what's going on with the fire creatures and stuff. And that's very cool.
MP was adorable.
And then Spock lands in the ocean and gets knocked out, and then we don't hear from him for like 70-something% of the book. And then he reappears.
He gets knocked down.
And it's fine. And it turns out that he got rescued or eventually given to a navy that was being run by Vulcans who crashed on this planet like 100-something years ago.
Specifically, just so, like, we can see how much we do not hear from Spock and Uhura. Uhura, we get one chapter at, like, I think it's like chapter 3 is like Uhura's chapter. We do not hear from her again until page 133. And similar with Spock, we don't hear from him until page 155. Yep. I wrote it down.
Nice.
I was like, where are they? Where did they go?
Yeah. And, like, Una gets, like, more chapters than anybody else except Pike. But, like I say, for most of her chapters, she just, like, I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Because, like, the early chapters is, like, Pike meeting and interacting with literally everyone he can get in contact with. Pretending to be that family's uncle. I can't put their name off the top of my head. And Una is purely in a forest.
Yeah.
And only interacting with Solarius, acting like she. What sci-fi race is Solarius meant to be? Because I was under the impression he was also quite humanoid.
So it's like him and Draco and the other people who are like in charge of the planet are called Skagarans. Skagarans, which I believe a lot of this ties into an episode of Star Trek Enterprise. I've never watched all of Star Trek Enterprise. I do not know the episode in question. But I did Google Skagarans because I was like, I need to be able to picture this. They basically just look like people.
See? So. At least give them something funky so that, like, because, like,
they have, like,
Una at that point
bits
doesn't
of, like,
know.
Bumpies on them, but they're mostly just people.
Una doesn't know that the planet is filled with a bunch of different sci-fi races, but Solarius does. Surely, surely he can piece it together as well that she's wearing part of her old suit she landed in for some of it. She was treated like an idiot for so long that she doesn't really say much.
I think the thing that really
or nothing of consequence
got me about it is that it's like you could play it off as like Una's playing stupid to get them to reveal things, right?
Yeah.
Except that she's playing stupid so well that she convinces herself.
Yes.
And forgets how to be Una Chin Riley, right? And Una in the show is like she's always portrayed as being very no nonsense, right?
Yeah.
She has a bit of fun every now and
Straight
then,
to the
but
point.
she's like this quite like prim, serious person. And so in this, to have her be like weirdly kind of infatuated, but also like I don't really care with Solarius was weird. And to have her play this like
love interest.
yeah, and also to have her like act like she doesn't know what's going on and like she trusts them, and then be like, I have just been acting this whole time, and I'm like, but you've been acting so well that you convinced yourself. It would be different if, because like we're in her internal monologue, so it'd be different if it was like clear from her monologue that she's like playing it up.
Yeah.
Right? But that does not come across at all. And it's like the author later was like, oh shit, I need to make it clear that she's been like playing them the whole time. And so just have her say it. It's not good.
Like, she lies to Solarius, saying she and a group of people were left her like hometown to travel. And he's like, well, did you get permission? Doesn't sound like you got permission. I don't think you're really meant to do that. And then he forgives her. Yeah. And nothing is spoken of it again.
It's because he's got
have
a crush
consequences. Oh yeah.
And
if you are like the heir apparent to this empire controlling the entire planet, I think it would be ingrained in your head to be like, something's not right here. I'm going to tell people, even if you like, this person is hot. I still think I should.
His whole thing is that he doesn't really care about the fact that he's the heir.
Yeah, but
it is badly done.
Yeah,
it doesn't work. I think that's the issue. It just doesn't work.
He was such a weak character that his only personality trait was into Una. Everyone is into Una.
And then randomly later on in the book, he like turns against his dad and helps them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this would mean more if it felt like you cared, like mattered at all, if you had any sort of personality or anything.
And not just to go against your dad.
Yeah.
It feels kind of like teenager, like, stop it, no. You know? I don't know how to say. Like,
I'm just really struggling to work out like, how old he's meant to be.
Yeah. I'm assuming 30, but he's definitely not written as it.
This is the thing, right? Like, I assume he is around there somewhere, but he acts like he's like 22. No offense.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
he acts way younger.
Yeah.
Just doesn't work.
He has the description of looking like someone from The Walking Dead. And then he like shaves his beard and then he's like a 12-year-old standing there. I really didn't like him, and their fucking romance really, really annoyed me.
Yeah.
Because Una just kept getting away with like the randomest crap. Or like she didn't try to do anything or find out a lot of stuff.
Yeah, she seemed quite content to just hang out.
Right.
And then later was like, I've been secretly gathering information. I'm like, show us her doing that, please.
Where is this information? What is it? You rode around on a blimp for like 4 chapters.
Like most of the fucking book, it felt.
And that was all you did.
Yeah.
I love that they used blimps.
I do enjoy that. Because like one of the whole things, like you said, is that this planet is like, it's like a bit incongruous, and this is a point that's raised a few times in the book.
Yeah.
But like, there's like limited technology available on this planet. Electronics just don't work, right? Because of the baffle.
Yeah.
And the fire creatures, the empatherms or whatever they're called, are
empatherm.
It seems initially like they are acting under their own power and destroy any machinery. It is later revealed that the Skagarans are like controlling them to make them destroy technology so that nobody, rises up against their Skagaran masters, basically. Even though none of the people are like... It's not really like oppressive regime sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it's like... It is like the Skagarans are like controlling everything.
Yeah. It's a little dystopian.
It is quite dystopian.
But like not really.
I think it's dystopian, but the people in it don't realise how dystopian it is because like they don't communicate.
Yeah.
Like they're like not allowed to communicate with each other or anything like that. Yeah. Like it's all very like a bunch of insular communities. And so
because there was that one guy who wanted to set up the journalist. I forget their name.
Yes, so do I.
Who wanted to set up like a system to get letters between villages, but they were like no. And he was like, well, sure.
Yeah.
That was. I'm so sorry.
And there are
inside he's like,
there are like a group of people who are like they call themselves the menders because they fix like machinery and stuff, and they are trying to like change things and stuff.
Jenny's dad. I forget his name. Joe?
I think it's Joe.
Joe.
Yeah.
Joe Dad.
Yeah. In terms of... Should we talk about Draco a bit? Because as a character, his job is to be...
awful.
Like, the bad guy.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he's a classic Star Trek bad guy.
Yeah. He's very tropey.
He is very tropey.
Evil because he is evil.
He's like, I know better than these poor deluded people. I'm here to protect them by being evil.
Exactly.
Which is like classic.
Yada
It's like classic Star Trek. Like,
yeah.
So many Star Trek episodes where there's like a planet that the Federation haven't come in contact with, and there's some warlord or whatever who's like ruling over it. Yeah. He's not that interesting.
No. He has a lot of monologues.
He has a lot of monologues.
In classic Star Trek form, though.
Yeah.
There's always an evil monologue, but it seemed his monologues were just like a lot.
Yeah.
Quite often, and from chapter 4. So...
yeah.
Just kept happening.
And then, I suppose the only other sort of relatively important named character is Lila? I think.
Yeah.
Lila Tally, who is... She's human. She was an old friend of Pike from back when they were kids. And she is now on this planet. So she was on a ship that was like a colony ship that were investigating somewhere to like colonize.
Yes.
And she went with them and they crash landed on this planet. And she's like part of the planet now. She's not part of the planet. That sounds like she's been absorbed into it. But she's like part of the society. She's Warden Tally. She's like a sheriff sort of figure. And her whole thing is like her family were, what's the word, Luddites, right? So they like refused to use any technology or anything like back in the day on Earth. And her
which I
family
quite enjoyed.
And a bunch of her people like went to another planet to like form a Luddite colony basically on this planet. And unfortunately then the Klingon War happened and the planet they chose was right on the edge of Klingon space and got like destroyed by the Klingons. And so now she's really angry and sad about that, which is fair. And her solution to that is that she wants to not let anybody leave this planet ever again. Because it's perfect for her.
Yeah.
And who cares what other people think? She likes it, so fuck everybody else. And then...
To be fair,
they discovered that the baffle could be turned off, but it could also be expanded. And her plan is like, I'm going to make it cover the whole galaxy so nobody has any technology, and that'll be great.
Because then the Klingons can't invade now. I'm like,
yeah, it's bad. It's
They
it's
would
like,
find another
they started
way.
off with this really interesting character, and I thought we were going to get some really nuanced stuff about like her and Pike and like backstory, and then she just quite quickly is like, I don't care about other people. I'm going to expand the baffle, and it'll kill hundreds of thousands of people, and I don't give a fuck because it'll get rid of technology for good, and that's a good thing. And I'm like,
right, because.
What?
Her backstory, right? Her backstory is that the Klingons invaded, killed all her family, and then also there was a shuttle accident that killed her child.
I think her family, like her kid and partner, were on the planet. They had gone ahead.
Oh, okay.
And she was like
she was going to join them.
Staying on Earth to like finish up everything, and then she was going to join them. And before she could join them, their planet got destroyed or attacked by Klingons, and they all got killed. So it's like she's lost a lot. Yeah. And her solution to that is remove technology from the galaxy forever.
Exactly. It's not exactly technology's fault.
Yeah, it's
like, sure, she was brought up in a society that was like very anti-tech, but it's still a weird jump to be like, fuck technology entirely and also commit mass genocide.
Yeah.
So...
And then Pike's like, you realise that by doing this you're going to kill loads of people because like you'll turn off life support, you'll turn off ships that are in flight, you'll turn off like everything, and people will just die. And she's like, meh.
People in like
she just doesn't care.
Living to care, or like because there's also like a lot of people like Data. So like all like the androids would die, a lot of like the AI stuff would die.
Anybody who relies on technology to be alive is fucked. So people who are on like medical machines. Benga's daughter. Like, if anybody who is on any spaceship anywhere, because they would have no oxygen, they wouldn't be able to breathe, they would be killed, like, instantly.
Yeah, instantly.
And, like, ships would crash, cities would be destroyed, like, planets dead. Like,
It was a really harsh jump between My family's dead. I know what I'm going to do.
From, I'm going to keep you here on this planet because it'll be better. And I can't let you leave because then you'll send the Federation here and they'll make everybody leave and blah blah blah. Yeah. She goes really quickly from that to, I'm going to end technology and kill hundreds of thousands of people and I don't care.
This is the end. And like physically says it.
Yeah. It's
Pike.
Bizarre. It's a really badly done turn from like sort of reasonable, like understandable like quote unquote bad guy antagonist to like absolute nuts.
Right. Very quickly.
Exactly. There wasn't like a gradual like, oh, she's getting worse. It was just like she discovers the baffle can be expanded. She's like, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go
this sounds fun.
Hundreds of thousands of people because I want to.
Because I'm upset.
Because I'm sad.
Yeah.
And then
you sound it
at the end. In the like epilogue, she's like teaching at like a horse ranch on Vulcan. And
which
she
sounds
gets her
delightful.
Like, redemption, and she's just fine.
Very quickly.
She goes from like I'm gonna keep everybody on this planet because like I don't want my like paradise to be destroyed. To I'm gonna commit mass genocide because I hate Klingons. To I'm cool now, guys. Don't worry. I'm teaching children on Vulcan how to ride horses.
Right. I'm sorry, but if the baffle ended, no one was going to stop you from not using technology.
Exactly. Because that's her whole thing. She's like, you can't turn off the baffle because then the Starfleet will come and force us all to use technology. It's like, no, you could still have like your colony on this planet, Ifesca, I think it's called.
Yeah.
You could still like be here and not have technology and that would be fine. You just can't force people to stay here against their will. And she's like, no. No, I want to destroy everybody's lives.
You can't be warden for an entire planet of prisoners. Like,
and then also try to expand that to the galaxy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not a great look.
It's really
I didn't
not.
like that she got redemption. I didn't like it.
It's not even just that she gets redemption, it's that it happens like instantly.
Instantly.
She goes from genocidal maniac to teaching children how to ride horses, and there's, again, no in between. It's not like a gradual development.
I can't remember who gets shot near the end. I know someone is... does someone get shot? Anyway, isn't she the one that like stops the baffle? Because I know she's in the room or something like that. And the baffle stops, she witnesses it. And then the next chapter...
Yeah.
Horses!
Maybe it's... Is it not...
Zahura.
Yeah, because like MP... Yeah. MP... Yes. The Empatherm's like...
Saves.
Yeah.
Yeah. To be honest, the last few chapters are an absolute mess.
Yeah, a lot happens very quickly.
I couldn't tell where we were for most of it.
Is it Pike? Can it get shot?
Someone does. Someone's got some bloody hand or something. Because I thought it was Lila, maybe. I can't remember. It's been like a week. Because she had her hand and she was linked into it.
Yeah. I don't
also,
remember.
it causing telepathy.
It was weird.
Love it, but also why?
Yeah.
Bit strange.
Yeah.
There were some choices being made.
There were some choices that were made.
None of the characters from the original series were depicted correctly.
Pike was the closest.
Pike was the closest, but even then...
Yeah. Just also as another thing, okay? The cover of this book, right? I understand
awful.
It's a tie-in. It's an awful cover regardless.
It's an awful cover.
Why is Uhura not there?
Yeah!
Why is it just Pike and Una and Spock? Uhura is in this book as much as Spock is.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, why is the black woman the one who's not on the cover?
Right.
Not a good look.
Is Uhura on the posters for the show?
I assume so, yeah.
Yeah. I know she has an individual poster, because they use the poster stills for the other three for the cover.
Hang on, I'm looking, but I assume so. Yeah.
I don't know why, because she looks good.
Yeah, they're like, yeah. It's just it's not great, is what I'm saying.
Weird. It ain't great. It's not a good look, guys.
It's not the best look to be like, here's three
look.
white people, but we're not putting the black woman on the cover, even though she's also part of this book.
I mean, Spock's barely in it.
Yeah.
Boot him.
That's what I'm saying. She's in it as much
her
as
in.
Spock is. Why does Spock get to be on the cover and she doesn't?
Exactly. He does fuck all.
Yeah.
So does Uhura, but still. Not a good look.
No, it's not a good look.
Okay.
Anyway. Atmosphere / world building.
Yes.
7.
3.
Okay, we went in opposite directions here. I thought that the world building of like multiple worlds or like multiple, species that have all been smooshed together onto this planet kind of worked.
Yes.
I thought it was done quite well.
Yes. But also, I don't know. Everyone just felt like the same person. You know?
What do you mean?
Like, it was a lot of like, we were introduced to one character, immediately never see them again. Introduced to another character, never see them again.
Yes, there were far too many characters in this book.
There was
with
far
names.
too many of them for me to keep track of who was who at that point. And I do love that they were meshing all of these societies together. I loved that. It was great. Something it just felt very, none of them kind of added to the plot, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm trying to think how to word it. Yeah.
No, I get what you mean now. Yeah.
I did enjoy it, but it's just it wasn't
Yeah.
huge.
I think
I wanted to see more.
It felt like instead of being a Star Trek episode, this was a Star Trek movie.
Yes.
And not a very good one.
Yes.
But I feel like in terms of like I feel like they did hit the Star Trek vibes, not super well, but it's there, right? Like there's plenty of episodes of Star Trek that are a bit shit, but still feel like Star Trek, and I feel like this belongs with them. But yeah, it's like a little bit too long.
Yeah. Oh God, it's way too long. This could have been 100 pages.
There's too many characters, and it's just like, yeah, it just didn't quite work.
Also, because the vibe was that Old West style, it kind of, I don't know, I never love a Western, and it didn't feel like a Western either.
Right.
I know it was trying to be.
I think it's like it was weird because there obviously there is this he's in this Western style town.
Yeah.
But also not very much is made of the fact that it is that. But then there's a lot of bits where they're on horseback. I think it's maybe just that
I love the horses.
The writing is not great. And so it doesn't
hit it.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah.
I feel like if you took this and made it on screen, it would feel more westerny because you'd be seeing all of these shots of them riding horses with the dust kicking off their hooves and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like the descriptive writing is not there enough to develop the atmosphere of it.
Yeah, because I loved all the the horse chase scenes when he's galloping after Lila. So in that aspect, I really liked it. I wish we got more visiting the town in general.
Yep.
Because that would have made it feel more kind of that Western style. I just felt very we were being told it was a Western town rather than we were being shown it was a Western town. So which kind of annoyed me. Because Pike literally said when he landed on the planet, I feel like I've been transported back to my youth, like an old Westerner. I was like, okay, sure. Okay, right. Tell me more. Where are the the little barn door things? Come on, show me. Show me more. But yeah.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. I did really like the fire aspect though. The fire didn't actually hurt them, the empatherns, before we knew what they were. Coming down and destroying technology, but not actually hurting the people unless they wanted to later on. I thought that was a really interesting aspect when Joe is still in the hut. Yeah. And Pike goes in not knowing that it's won't hurt him. And it's I thought that was a really cool aspect. I wanted to be Why is he not asking questions about the Emperor? Why is he asking more?
Yeah.
I liked it, but there was a lot missing for me.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I do know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just yeah. It's just not super well done. And that's sad.
Yeah. I did enjoy, like, because a lot of it is taken from Star Trek. They're like, so that stuff I already knew and built on, so I was like waiting for more to be built on top of it for the more world building aspect, but not really a lot, unfortunately.
Okay, shall we move on to writing style?
Yes.
I've given it a 5.
Weirdly enough, I gave this a 7.
Interesting.
Because, like, it was fine.
What I've literally put wasn't bad, wasn't good.
Yeah.
Which is why it's a 5.
messing
It's like
stuff.
middle of the road.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say. It's like the writing was fine.
It was very tropey. It was very based on tropes, but just like most books are. And we know that Star Trek is a little bit tropey, but it's still great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say the writing was particularly fantastic.
No.
Once again, they didn't get the characters quite right. All that good stuff. The world felt kind of empty to me. You know? But that might be because the villages were so far apart, but still. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
I just don't know what
I don't
else
know
to say about the writing style. It was fine.
It didn't jazz me.
No, it didn't.
No.
I wasn't reading it going, my God, this is badly written. I wasn't loving it, but I don't think it was the writing style that was the problem. But I also don't think the writing style was like good. It was just there.
Yeah. Yeah. It was written.
It was written.
It was written.
That's a very good way of putting it. It's like, this was a book. This was written. Somebody wrote that.
He wrote. It's like, let him cook, but let him write, I guess.
I guess, yeah.
Sure. Oh my gosh.
Okay. Yeah.
Plot?
7.
2.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh no.
Oh no.
I think I might have overrated this one a little bit.
Okay.
But
I think I was just really angry because I did this like straight after I read it. I was like, this fucking sucked too.
The entire first half of this book was real fucking slow.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like broken into parts, this book.
Yeah.
And I felt like part 1 and part 2 were real slow, and then it starts to pick up a bit when you get to part 3.
See, I enjoyed the beginning a little bit more than part 2 and 3. I thought when it got to 3, I was extremely confused of everything that was happening.
So part 1 is all like the setup. Right? Part 2 is where he starts to like Pike and Lila like meet again, and all of that stuff starts to happen, and things start to get like, oh, something weird's going on. Part 3 starts with Pike like leading the Menders and their families on this like insane mega journey away from their homes to like this one bit of the fucking continent that Spock has like communicated to him to go to. And then part 4 is like, now shit's getting real wild, right? Part 4 is nuts, right? There's not a lot of stuff in part 4 that made sense. Stuff starts to go really off the rails, I think. But I think I didn't mind so much because at least stuff was happening.
Yeah.
Whereas for the first half of this book, there's like not a lot goes on.
Yeah. I enjoyed when they were like using the ship as like a raft.
Yes.
And stuff and sailing around. That was great. I really liked that.
That's like the start of part 4 is like all of this. So like Hammer, Chief Engineer Hammer.
Oh. I miss him.
Comes down from heaven, space, along with a bunch of bits of the Enterprise.
Gorgeous.
To build this insanely big like ice transport thing.
Yeah.
Which they then use to like avoid capture by Draco and his men. And it is an incredible. It's great. It's so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
And
It is so much fun.
I think again, this is one of those moments where I'm like, I think this story would be better in a visual format.
Yes, graphic novel. This would have hit.
Graphic novel of this would have been great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then it would have been shorter as well.
Yep.
And then, because then you'd also see like the sea that the
Yeah,
dolphins were
I
like
think,
traveling
like,
on
there's so
before
many-
Draco like drained it.
There's so many moments where I'm like, I really want to be able to picture this, but the writing is giving me nothing. The descriptions are just not there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nothing is visually described very much.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I want to be able to see it. And I think if you were in a graphic novel or a movie or whatever, you would have that. And I think that would go a long way to making this better.
Exactly. And also, it's Star Trek. Of course, you want a graphic novel.
Right, yeah, Star Trek is
Well,
like a
comic
visual
books.
thing.
Yeah, you want to see it.
And I'm sure there are ways to write good Star Trek novels, but I don't think this is it.
Because, like, no, it wasn't computing things properly.
Yes.
And that was where it fell off.
I
really wanted to see the Vulcan colony. I really wanted to.
Yeah. I do think I will read more tie-in novels because I know that they're all written by different people.
Yes.
Which helps.
Yeah.
Because I'm not convinced that this guy was the best.
No.
Unfortunately.
I wanted to see more Hemmer and Uhura. I wanted to see them like interact more. And we didn't see them interact.
Yeah.
That upset me because their relationship in season 1 is the cutest thing. I love them so much.
Yeah.
He's such a grumpy uncle for her.
It's great.
Grunkle. Yeah.
Grunkle Stan?
Grunkle Stan. Pulls out a gun. Forward!
Okay!
Sorry. Oh my gosh.
But yes, I know there are like other tie-ins.
Yes.
To like the other, well, to Strange New Worlds and to other shows. So I'm not like opposed to reading more. I just don't really feel like I need to read more by this author.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I get you.
Because it's not the best.
No. Because this, I think it also suffers from the middle book syndrome of like nothing fucking happens. Maybe like a few things, but then they're always thwarted within the next chapter. Like they meet the secret society that are trying to like with the printing press and stuff that Jenny's dad has and stuff.
Yep.
And then 2 chapters later, the printing press has been destroyed. I was like, oh, okay. And then subsequently the hairdresser was trying out new scissors and they got destroyed too, by accident, to be fair, but still. It was just, it seemed to, like, one thing happened, nothing. One thing, no. Actually, no. That didn't, that's right. But this thing, no. Yeah. And then, we were left with barely anything and Jenny wanting to cause mass genocide for, like, a lot of it.
Yes.
And not very many
Lila,
questions
not
being
Jenny.
answered. Lila. Jenny's
did
a cutie.
not want to do mass genocide.
Jenny's a cutie. She wants to explore the galaxy. Whoops. To be fair. Yeah. Oh no, doesn't Jenny get shot? Is Jenny the one that gets
Jenny's
injured?
the one who gets shot?
Because I know Jenny
was
gets
it
really
Joe?
injured.
Is it her dad that gets shot?
No.
Somebody at some point gets shot.
Someone
and
gets
the fact
shot.
that we can't tell you, I think, tells you a lot about this book.
Yeah. I don't know who it was. Oh. Yeah. I was also the main villain. Didn't enjoy him.
Yes.
He was very, I'm going to keep it like this because it's like this. And the Empathurns being, like, killed to make everything run. I really liked that.
Yeah.
Using the Empathurns as, like, a power source.
There's some
that
very
was the only thing
interesting stuff in here.
And yet.
And yet.
And yet. That's what I wanted to know more.
Yeah.
But good guys win, bad guys lose.
I guess so, yeah.
Vulcans go back to Vulcan
Yeah.
for some reason. Was I crazy that they were kind of speaking like kind of like Old English?
They were a bit, which
Why
is a
were they
weird
not-
choice
yeah.
because I
Yeah.
don't really understand why that would be the case.
Yeah, because it was like Shakespearean language, and I was like, I can't remember if they were before what time period they came from, because I know they'd been like sleeping
Yeah, I
for a bit. I was like, where are you from?
I was trying
When?
to, because I don't know. Right, like this era of Trek is not my era of Trek. Okay, I'm a
Yeah.
TNG girly at heart. You cannot hit me with like original series Enterprise era stuff,
Yeah.
because it's not something I know a lot about. But I think because Enterprise, I think, is when the Vulcans are at war with the Andorians and stuff, and I think that's the sort of era that these guys are from, but I don't know how long before Strange New Worlds that is.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what year it is.
Because I thought it was like 400 years, but maybe I'm wrong.
How old are these guys?
Maybe it's only like 150 or something.
Maybe they just took a really long nap. Because it felt very weird for them to be very Old English.
Yeah, but no, it's weird that the Vulcans in this, for some reason, talking like
Yeah.
ye olde English.
I wanted to know why.
It does not
Can I
make
spend-
sense to me at
yeah.
all.
I want to spend more time with the Vulcans. I wanted more Spock chapters with
Yeah.
the Vulcans.
Anyway, we should probably
have you-
actually continue,
Yes.
shouldn't we?
Yes.
Intrigue.
We are on intrigue.
We are on intrigue?
We are on intrigue.
I thought we were on plot.
Oh no, we're not. Shit, we are on plot.
We hadn't
They're the
started
same rating, so I got them jumbled.
So you give this a 2 as well?
Yes.
Okay, I gave it a 6.
It's because after part 2, I couldn't care less
That's fair.
about anything that happened.
I
Apart from the Vulcans.
liked the whole setup of the mystery about like what the Rondures were and like
Yeah.
what the Skagarans were doing there and the mystery of the Empatharms. I thought that was all set up really well, except for 2
Yes.
things. Firstly, it was pretty obvious what was going on real quick. And so you're then spending 2/3 of the book being like, my god, would you catch up?
Right?
Why did none of you know what's going on? It's blatantly
Use-
obvious.
Context clues.
And then secondly, a lot of it kind of felt a bit weird. Like the whole, like, the Rogers are secretly some, like, thing that the Empatharms made
Yeah.
to communicate with, and it's the Rogers, these little orb things that allow you to communicate telepathically, are also the Baffle.
Right? I was waiting for some other thing.
I
like
thought
a
the Baffle was going to be
byproduct
like
of-
the Skagarans were doing a thing deliberately
Yeah.
to keep people there, but no.
Or like the Skagarans were bringing the Empatherms through from their universe, and the byproduct of that was the Baffle or something like that. Something, yeah, that would have been cool. Or obviously like a Skagaran thing, like they specifically set it up. That would have
Yeah.
been cool. Not
Not
I
what we
didn't like
got,
this.
though. No.
Nah, I didn't like it.
I don't like it.
I don't like it. It was too simple, but also a bit convoluted at the same time.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. I do know, and I agree.
Yeah.
I think that's a very
Good.
good way of putting it. Too simple and simultaneously too complicated.
Because I at one point don't understand what is happening. Just assume that it's a good thing that it's happening. The baffle's gone.
Yeah. Baffle gone.
I didn't know where it went. Baffle. I was baffled.
Lost the baffle. Sorry,
to be
guys.
fair. I lost in the baffle.
I put it down somewhere and now I can't find it. It's just gone.
It's baffled. I don't know.
Every ADHD person's day-to-day life.
Literally.
Anything else on intrigue? I just don't know what else to...
I don't know what to say. It just... It felt,
yeah.
because of how small the text was, it also felt much longer. Like maybe a 400-page book.
I think this
I don't know what the standards
definitely
size
could have
is.
done with being shorter.
It definitely could have. I would have loved it to be like 200 pages. I think you would have been able to cover it in 200 pages.
Yep.
But you probably had a quota, so I don't blame you. You probably had to make it that length.
Yeah.
John Jackson. talking to you.
I'm talking specifically to you, John
Specifically.
Jackson Miller.
I'm assuming is here.
I assume
No.
that
No.
nobody listens to this podcast. That's my assumption every time we record. I'm like, nobody's going to
No, I think it's great.
So if you are listening, John Jackson Miller, I'm sorry, but I didn't like your book.
No, unfortunately not.
And I can see that you've written other Star Trek books, and I'm going to avoid them.
Oh, we're gonna avoid them. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Sucks to suck. Moving
Sucks.
on.
Logic.
6.
Or 7.
There weren't plot holes.
There weren't plot holes. I liked the empatherms.
Yeah.
I liked the semi-magic system. In a way, with the empatherms. It reminded me of another book I read by Brandon Sanderson that I'll talk about later. But otherwise,
Yeah.
it was fine. There was no like big holes that left me like confused. Well, I was baffled, but still.
Yeah, well, baffled by the baffle, of course. But
Baffled by the baffle. But otherwise.
yeah, that wasn't a hole. That's the baffle.
No.
Baffle's not a hole.
No, it was just baffle's not a hole.
Yeah.
It's baffling.
you can't put a hole
It's
in
a
a baffle.
sphere. 'Tis but a circle. Yeah.
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 I liked the blimps. I liked how that
The
worked.
blimps were fun.
empatherms.
Do you know?
The blimps were really fun.
It was, I mean, a bit fucked up that the blimps are like powered by the empatherms being
Yeah.
tortured or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. Mega fucked up.
I do love a good blimp. You know?
Yeah. More books need blimps. Love a blimp.
Yeah. Big
Need more
blimp,
blimps.
Big blimp fan.
Oh, actually, to be fair, there was also maps in this book.
There were. I did like the maps.
We've not mentioned the maps yet.
I appreciate that the
'Cause,
maps
yeah.
are single page maps, and thus there is
And of different places.
no map crack.
No map crack. They're small, to the point, and of different locations each time. I
Yeah.
believe.
I'm a fan. I like that.
Which was
Like
perfect.
each map is like, this is the relevant area for what's happening
Yes.
in this section. So it's like part 1, there's a map, and that's the map of like the area that's happened in part 1, and then the same in part 2, and part 3 and part 4. I also liked the naming for the parts. So part 1 is Old Worlds,
Yeah.
part 2 is Old Friends, part 3 is
Yeah.
Old Soldiers, and I think part 4 is Old Wounds? Old Flames. Oh, there's
Old
5
Flames.
parts.
There's
There's
five.
5 parts. Part 4 is Old Wounds, and part 5 is Old Flames.
Who's the old flame?
I assume it's like a Pike Lila reference.
Oh.
I guess.
Oh, okay.
That like they
Yeah.
were maybe going to potentially have been a thing one day, but obviously that didn't happen.
Oh, so upset by that.
Sad times.
I'm so sad they're not together. I just assumed Lila was older than him the entire time, to be honest.
I think she's like a couple years older, I think is the idea.
Okay.
But what do I know?
Yeah.
Enjoyment?
Oh, enjoyment.
6. It was
I liked
it was kind of fun.
It was fine. I feel like I should have liked it more because I love Star Trek, but it didn't hit like I wanted it to.
I think as well, not to give John Jackson Miller too much leeway, but it is hard to write a tie-in to a show that's as good as Strange New Worlds.
Yes, it is difficult. And you gave it your best shot.
I really,
To be
truly, John Jackson Miller, I really hope this was not your best shot.
Oh.
If this was your
no,
best
actually,
shot,
yeah.
that ain't good, pal.
That ain't good.
Buddy, old
Buddy
pal.
old pal.
And I know you've written many other books.
Hopefully your other books are better.
He's written tie-ins to Picard and Discovery, as well as to Next Gen. He's written some old Star Wars tie-ins.
Oh, okay.
I think none of which are canon anymore.
Oh, okay.
But I might be wrong.
Interesting.
Pretty sure he wrote some for like the fucking, what's it called now? Legends, Star Wars Legends stuff, which is all the like stuff that was pre-Disney.
Yes.
And is now not canon because it's
understood.
Bonkers.
No Disney. Woo!
Yeah.
Fucking wild. Yeah. I hoped for more.
Yep.
You can tell.
I think that's a good way to put it. I hope for more.
I hope for more.
I did not get
better.
more. Yeah.
Unfortunately. But we have great books that we recommend.
Yes.
If you did or did not like this book. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I think we both have Grace Curtis.
I actually don't. But that's
You
a
don't?
really good
Oh my
point.
gosh.
Frontier
'Cause
by Grace Curtis.
Frontier by Grace Curtis.
Literally a space
And Floating
western.
Hotel. And Floating Hotel, thank you.
Yeah, but, Frontier's like
Beautiful.
thematically
My
more,
favourite. Yeah, no, that's fair. I wrote down Grace Curtis as my backup because I thought we both have them. Go read Grace Curtis.
Yeah.
Fantastic, episodic books that we really enjoyed. We read Floating Hotel together earlier this year.
God, was that only this year?
It was June.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
I know. It's crazy. We're at the end of the year.
Oh, God.
Otherwise, my other recommendation was going to be Cascade Failure by L.M. Sagas, which is their debut novel. It is a sci-fi adventure where I'm trying to think how to describe it. Our main character, Yal. Is it Yal or Jal?
It's
I'm listening
Hall.
to the audiobooks now. Hall. Oh, for
I know. At least according to the audiobooks, it's pronounced Hall.
I'm listening to the sequel right now, and I'm listening to it as Hall, and I just saw how it's spelled
Because
on Storygraph, and I was like,
haven't
what?
read them. I hadn't seen the spellings of any of this. I
The
listened to the
spelling-
audiobook.
Interesting.
And then I saw the spellings, so I was like, oh, that's Hall?
Yeah.
And that's Oan?
Right. Right. Even though it's spelled Eon. Interesting. Very interesting.
With no other knowledge, I'm going to go with what the audiobook narrator says.
Yes, exactly. It feels right. I think there's a pronunciation guide in the book. I could be wrong. Basically, one of our characters, Hall, has accidentally been well, not accidentally. He's been framed for this kind of bad thing that's happened.
Yeah, he got framed for treason and desertion.
Yes. You'll learn why that's happened.
Yeah.
I just realised it's a spoiler.
It's a pretty big plot point.
Yeah. Ugh. Oh my god, how do I describe this book?
It's
basically
okay, there's a ragtag band of space idiots, and they're all gay. None of them admit it, but they are.
Yeah, they're all fruity. Look at them.
And they are investigating a conspiracy.
Yes.
That involves all of the
dead planets.
Big names in the galaxy.
Yes.
Where planets are dying sooner than they ought to.
Yeah.
And something weird and going on, and it might tie into other stuff, including why Hall was framed for desertion.
Exactly. And there's very cool characters.
Yes.
And it's going against the corporate world that the galaxy has been set up to be, with the trust versus the union or something.
Yes.
The guild, sorry.
All three exist.
All three, to be honest.
It's there's the trust,
Yeah.
the union, and the guild, and I kept losing track of which was which.
They're very similar titles.
Yeah.
And they're all kind of similar.
I think it's the trust is all the rich people, the union is the workers,
laborers.
and then the guild is they're mercenaries effectively.
Yeah, which the Ambit is part of,
Yeah.
I believe. Yes. The first book is fantastic. I loved it a lot. The second book I'm loving so far. I'm only a couple hours in, but it's very fun.
Yes. I also enjoyed...
And it's duology.
I enjoyed both. I can't remember whether I preferred the first one or the second one, but I did enjoy both.
I think you gave both 4.5.
Oh, well, that would,
Yeah. That says it.
That would explain that, yeah.
It's compared to Becky Chambers. We love Becky Chambers. Go.
Yeah.
Read it. It is delightful. I love the covers as well.
They're great.
And it deals
they do
with
have fantastic covers.
They do. They really do. Okay. Hit me.
Okay.
Hit me. Stop trying to hit me and hit me.
I've got Valerie Valdez on here. So, Chilling Effect is the first book. Also, in fact, a ragtag band of space idiots.
Indeed. I love
very
idiots.
fun, very funny. There's lots of silly little references to things. It's very sort of Mass Effect-y.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, they're super duper fun, and just like if you just want like a good bit of sci-fi, definitely would recommend. If you want a really good bit of sci-fi, Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky. My fucking god, it is the best sci-fi book I've read in a while. It's like so good.
And that says something. You read a lot of sci-fi.
I've been reading a lot of sci-fi recently, and Children of Time is like it's mind-blowingly good. I really cannot recommend it enough. I can't I think I've talked about it on the podcast before.
Probably. Last month actually.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to like talk about without spoiling too much of the plot anyway.
Yeah.
But it's fantastic, and I would just like pick it up and read it. Honestly, just do it.
Just do it.
Yeah, it's great, and it's like really, really unique as well, which a lot of sci-fi isn't.
Fuck
so.
Yeah.
And then, if you want a tie-in or tie-ins that are actually good, I can strongly recommend the Star Wars High Republic books.
Yeah.
Right, there's a lot of them. There are reading orders online. I would definitely recommend. There's a website called Utini, who have like a High Republic reading order that they recommend, which is very helpful. Some of them, obviously, as with any like series of tie-ins, some of them are not so good. They're all like this. It's like I think there's like 5 or 6 authors, and so it's like different authors write different books, but they obviously had like a shared plan of like where it was going to go.
Yeah.
Unlike the Star Wars sequel trilogy, am I right? And there's like graphic novels and stuff that tie in as well. I've just been reading like the adult, so there's like adult novels, YA novels, middle grade novels, and then there's like graphic novels. I think there's a couple of like audio dramas as well.
Ooh, brilliant.
Yeah, they're really good. And also it's nice to be Star Wars, but in a different era from the Skywalker saga. It's like hundreds of years before. I love the High Republic. It's so much fun.
Especially with like the sheer amount of Skywalker stuff at the current moment.
Yeah, there's no Skywalkers in this.
Beautiful.
It's great. At least not as far as I know. I don't think there would be any reason for there to be
yet.
And there's like 3 phases to it, so there's like loads of stuff. They're really good. The one that you should definitely start with, Star Wars High Republic Light of the Jedi, is like a really, really good book. There's some like moments where you're like, God damn, Jedi are cool, man. It's fantastic. Without spoiling too much, there's a moment where like one of the Jedi she's got the ability to like connect other Jedi to each other through the Force, so they can like work together like perfectly in sync, and she connects like hundreds of Jedi all together to save this planet from a disaster, and it's like incredibly done. It's so good, and I would really recommend listening, at least for the adult novels, listening to the audiobooks of them. They're narrated by this guy called Mark Thompson, who's fantastic. He does a really good job of the narration. He like has like different voices for everybody. Whenever a character is like doing something in a slightly strained way, he like puts emphasis into it. Like he like really embodies it, and they all have like music and sound effects and stuff. They're great. Yeah. So
that sounds
like
that sounds really cool.
Honestly, if you want like tie-ins that are good, Star Wars: The High Republic. It's great.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I need to get around to reading the Star Wars tie-ins.
Yeah. One day when I have time and also can be bothered, I really want to like rope somebody into doing like a Star Wars: The High Republic book club podcast with me.
Oh fuck yes. You totally should.
And just go through one by one through each of the books.
Yes.
That would be very fun. I would love to be able to do that.
That would be delightful.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Maybe it'll happen.
Oh my gosh. Indeed.
So I think that's us.
Actually, I have
Do you have
one
more?
recommend. Yeah, I have one more.
Go for it.
Tomorrow and Tomorrow Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin was my
while.
last. I know. I love this book so much. It was so good. I convinced my mother to read it.
Wow.
That's how good I am.
Am I crazy, or did she not like it?
She didn't leave.
Yeah. I was like, I feel like I remember you telling me that.
She got bored. I was pissed off, okay, that she didn't like it as much as I hoped she did. But I fucking love this book. It's about these two childhood best friends who kind of were estranged after a bit of their childhood, and they re-meet when they're both kind of college age. So Sam and Sadie, they then realise both of them are making video games. One is going to college to do it, one is just making it outside. And it's about their collaboration of how they make one of the biggest video games at that current time, and what happens when that level of success happens. Bad things and very good things.
Oh.
It hurts very deeply, and it's really a sentiment to how cool video games are, but how painful fame can be. And very painful when you're doing it with people you know and people you like. It's very bittersweet, and I really enjoyed it. Oh, it's delightful. I'll say nothing more because I would spoil it. Yes.
Yeah, one of these days I'll probably get around to reading it.
It's very good.
I have a lot of books to read.
I know.
Yeah. Okay. Now we're done.
Now this is the end of the episode.
That's it for Book Club for this year.
For this year.
For this season of Hearth and Tome.
Exactly.
How weird is
It's
that?
kind of crazy.
So next month, which is December, we will have our Hearth and Tome Choice Awards episode, which will come out sometime in the month.
Yes.
Where we'll go through all of the books that we've read for Book Club this season and last season, and we're going to give them some awards and some, I guess, not so nice awards.
Yeah. I'm
Which,
so sorry.
Should be fun. Come along and listen and see who's most likely to succeed or whatever. Doing a review book.
Succeed or get shit on.
Yeah. That's life. Capitalism.
Woo!
And then in January, we will have our 2024 reading roundup.
Woo. Where Phoenix will win.
Yeah.
Because you're yeah.
Yeah, I'm currently reading book 100 for the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm reading book 72.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Life is a highway, and I'm gonna ride all night long. All night long.
And that will be our last episode of this season of Hearth and Tome.
Yes.
And then in February, we'll be back.
Regular schedule programming.
Yeah, and maybe we'll make changes again like we did last February,
You're just gonna have to wait and find out.
We're gonna have to wait and find out.
We're gonna have to figure it out.
Things 3 months in advance. Are you crazy?
God forbid.
Yeah. I've not even started thinking about Hearth and Tome Choice Awards winners yet.
Me neither.
We need to do that at some point.
We do.
Anyway.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
For now. And also don't forget we had a Talking in the Tavern earlier this month where we talked about, our little sort of monthly roundup of how we're doing reading wise and all that good shit.
It was a really fun episode. You should go check it out.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Thanks for joining us here at the Tavern. Phoenix, where can our listeners find you outside the podcast?
They can find me on Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads, or Instagram, all under @beansandfungi. What about you?
You can find me, Eve, under Cozy Crow on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube.
And of course, make sure that you follow the podcast on Instagram @HearthAndTomePod, Twitter @HearthAndTome, TikTok @Hearth.and.tome, and YouTube @HearthAndTomePod to get updates about when episodes go live, behind the scenes stuff, all that good shit. Yeah. So yeah, we will see you in December for the Hearth and Tome Choice Awards.
Yeah. Bye!
The music used in this episode was Midnight Tale by Kevin MacLeod through Incompetech.com, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0 license.